Hi, this is MisterSouji, and I'm doing a review of the Flames Toy Furai Model Kit G1 Style Optimus Prime. This usually retails for about $40 to $50. Here's the box. Standard stuff. It's gone. Um, Here is... Let's just start with the accessories because it comes with some pretty decent. Well, it comes with his ion blaster, his standard gun. Color's off. Really supposed to be darker. Shows it in the manual as darker. But it'll do. I'm going to paint this guy anyways. He comes with his axe. And just like with all the weapons, what you do is you pop off his hand and pop on the axe, and there you go. Speaking of hands, he comes with two of each of these fingers. He comes with two fists, two clawed gripping hands, and I will show you what that's for later. Two pointing fingers, two splayed open hands, and two trigger finger hands. And that is a great set of hands, or a great selection of hands. The only thing I could really ask for would be like posable fingers, but I mean that's not their style. Comes with these stickers, and these are really just for the Autobot logos that are supposed to go on the shoulder, and then the little lights that are supposed to go on the chest. So let's bring this guy a little bit closer. Get you a good look at him. And as you can see, he's very nice. Now, my biggest complaint, one of my biggest complaints, there's a handful of complaints, but for the most part this is a good thing. The seam lines on the legs, and there's a seam line on the arm, but that's supposed to kind of be like a panel line. There's also seam lines on the top of the shoulders and the top of the body. There's also one on the side of the head. And those are all going to be... I don't think I can get the one on the body. I'm just going to say that straight up. But even the legs and arms are going to be a little bit tricky to deal with, but I figured it out. You'll notice he's missing the little gray piece on his helmet. I have it. It's in the box. I'm looking at it right now. But it does fall out too easy. The little horns on the side of his head could probably use some gluing. The next big issue is, you'll see it right here. It's got some stress marks on it. There's a few parts that just could use, I don't know. It's a little bit of, there's a cat hair. There's a little bit of tolerance issues on him. And, that could be, those could be ironed out. He's about a Voyager in size, or a smaller Master Grade in size. For comparison, here's the Master Grade Zaku Gunner, a much bigger kit, but there's the head height. The head height's a little bit more on the Zaku Gunner. Now, the thing I will say about this is, even though it's supposed to be G1, it's still somewhat stylized still in proportions. You notice there's an angle to the body and stuff like that. However, I must say, he has... Also, every time you turn the head, it's a really great joint in there, but the neck keeps spinning around. And this is the only double jointed neck I've had where it just keeps spinning around. But the proportions are excellent. I know there's a YouTube channel called Anthony's Customs, and he's less lenient on things than other people, but he makes some good points. His thighs, and his thighs can extend, but his thighs and the lower legs are about the same length. Now, for most, robots like Gundam and Transformers, the lower legs are longer, and it makes sense because they're bigger and the lower legs need to support more weight. But for humanoid proportions, these are excellent because his arms his hands reach slightly below his waist, which is how it is on a real human body. So he has maybe not the best proportions for Optimus Prime, not that they're bad, but he has excellent human proportions. As far as the rest of him, he's got the detail on the backpack. Maybe those little pieces on the edge should be white or gray or whatever, but still, most of this stuff you're not even going to see, but they put the detail there. He's got a port for an action base. He has no visible wheels, which technically the animation model of Prime did not have. It recommends in the manual that you glue in the windows. The chest does open up so he can light our darkest hour. And this gray piece, the matrix is not removable, which is kind of disappointing, but that gray piece, it does not just didn't want to go in there. That was super difficult to get in there. These claw hands he comes with, and that occasionally happens too. You didn't see that, but I was swapping out the hands and his wrists come out, but that's not a big deal. Why is there cat hair everywhere? Probably because I got 2 cats, but give me a second. Put my hand back together. But you can very easily probably helps to do it on screen. Yeah. Very easily get him to light our darkest hour. Okay, so with that out of the way, let us do his articulation, which is the next amazing thing about this. Is he's got ball joint in the head, ball joint in the neck, so he can get shenane all going. Obviously, you saw the chest. The grill is on a ball joint itself, and it is sometimes that's good, but sometimes when you want to get it straight, you got to mess with it a little bit. So he's got crazy ab crunch forward, crazy ab crunch back, and you can see inside there, but oops, you can adjust it. You've got a swing forward arms. You've got this, the actual joint itself can go up, and these can move out of the way. So really, you can get the arm pretty dang far. He's got double jointed elbows, and he's got double ball joint. He's got a ball joint inside there, and then a ball joint at the actual wrist, so you got pretty good range. No hinge in the wrist, but I think it makes up for it. These skirts could be a little bit better, but the front pieces are on ball joints, but these side pieces, the back skirt does not move. These side pieces are just kind of pegged in, so if you do too much, they can come undone. I'm going to move these front skirts all the way up, and there's a reason for that. If you look inside the leg, you've got this little hinge on it. So if you don't use that, you've got decent range, and you can also, if you want, keep the little diaper look. But yeah, I said it. But you can get that, and it's not great, but you use that hinge, and you can get him. I did it earlier. You can get him kicking amazingly high. One of the things I will say is, because of that drop down joint, it is very easy to make it look like the thigh is too long. So if you're doing something like this, now it makes it like his leg is kind of a little bit more disproportionate, which I shall fix, because this knee joint, which there's your knee joint, I'm going to paint this blue, partially because I think it will help with that, and also partially because that's due to trying to get rid of this seam line. And trying to get rid of this seam line, the easiest way to do it is cut inside there. I plan on doing a video on fixing this. Like, I'm going to do a custom paint job. I'm going to try and give him one of those anime style paint jobs, like one of those, it looks like a real life animation model. But I'll show you that. But yeah, you saw, and obviously he has rotation here and all that stuff. He has a ball joint, and the ball joint's on a peg, so that peg goes back and forth, and he doesn't get great rotation on that ball joint because of this, but then you get toe joint to make up for it. So in reality, if you are, and here's the thing, is he's sturdy, he is solid. You can get him in a great pose, and this is one of those figures. I've also got the Gundam G40. This isn't quite up to Gundam G40 standards, but it's not that far off. But this guy, he feels solid. Yeah, he's got a few pieces that'll fall off, but the plastic's really nice. I would put the plastic better than Kotobukiya style. He feels more solid than a Kotobukiya kit. And I think these are still made in China, but still, you can get some insane poses with these guys. And he's got, now you'll also notice the leg goes backwards, and that's so that he could get one of those anime style poses where he's kind of leaning forward and he's got his crotch out. And this does the same thing the G40, as I was saying. What the G40 does is, if you just put him in the box, okay, that's stupid, but he kind of poses himself sometimes. Like, if you're trying to give him just a standard thing, that looks like a pose. Maybe not the best pose, but and as for his gun, it just, even though it doesn't look like it does, but it just slides into his hand. So, it slides in, holds it great. No weight problems. So this is, I would say this is probably the most posable Optimus Prime, period. Not perfect. My other next biggest issue is the instructions, and just like the rest of them, the instructions, I feel like there's a whole arm in the instructions. That's like, you could separate that out. Yeah, they're nice and colorful, but it just pretty much puts a whole bunch of stuff in there at once, and just, some of it doesn't even directly tell you to put it in a certain way. But the negatives, there's some tolerance issues with the little white parts and stuff, or the stress marks. There are a few minor things that fall out. They could use better seam line management, and it could use better instructions. Positives: amazing plastic quality, solid feel, and awesome articulation. But that is all for this review. Thank you very much. This is MisterSouji out.